My name is Akeem Deacon, and for this seminar, I will be conducting my presentation on environmental degradation with a focus on climate change. Throughout the delivery and the paper, we will be discussing environmental degradation, climate change, its economic impact, as well as the review of a case study. Environmental degradation can be defined as the deterioration of the earth from the depletion of resources. This condition of degradation can take many forms, and one of them is climate change. Climate change can be described as alterations in temperature and weather patterns that affect and define the Earth as we know it. Where economic impact is concerned, temperature and climate change can impact income through lower agricultural yields, efficiency and effectiveness of workers, from physical and cognitive performances, as well as increases in crime and conflict. The case study was pulled from the university's archive in a digital article written for Florida International News. Residents of Montana, the state of Montana, sued the state over dangerous effects of climate change. The cases were based on allegations that Montana's energy policies violated the locals' right to a clean and healthy environment. All right, for the next slide, we'll zone in on environmental degradation. In the book, A Nervous Area of Government, Arthur Gooden in the textbook explained that lawmaking officials should make it a priority to respond promptly to issues regarding environmental degradation and climate change, especially if minority communities are involved. Um, the term environmental racism was introduced in the book, and it was described as any government legislation that purposefully or unintentionally harms minority groups based on race or color. The book also described the criticism that government agencies faced because of inadequate responses to contaminated communities of color and the implementation of insufficient penalties for businesses that pollute in black communities. If you look at the infographic, we can see that human activities can be just as detrimental as natural factors. So, overpopulation, industrialization, deforestation, can be just as severe as an earthquake or a hurricane. For the next slide, we asked the question, why is climate change one of the most important issues of the 21st century? Climate change is an important discussion in the present day. Once considered an issue for a distant future, climate change has moved firmly into the present. Climate change is an important topic of discussion because of its enormity and flexibility. It is a major problem that many governments are faced with today. However, what makes climate change one of the most critical issues of the 21st century is its detrimental effect on economic growth. It further erodes food security, and it is a major threat on the health of many people across the globe. So we can look at this infographic. It shows the world's top emitters of carbon dioxide. Uh, China, is in the lead. It's a 2018 infographic, and USA comes in second. Um, the emission of carbon dioxide contributes to climate change, the weather. In this slide, we'll discuss some of the economic damages associated with climate change. Professional reports indicated that Hurricane Katrina caused the highest amount of insured losses at around $61 billion. According to a 2011 National Academy of Sciences report, For every degree Celsius the global thermostat rises, there will be a consequent 5 to 15% decrease in overall crop production. So agriculture is significantly affected by climate change. So this infographic is just a survey to see what people think. We look at global warming as something that's going to happen in the distant future, and not a real threat to people in the modern day. But 61% of the people interviewed actually thought that climate change affected their community in some way in the modern day. So looking at the next slide, it's more on the social and economic impact of climate change. So you see the cost of adapting coastal areas to rising sea levels, loss of the capacity to work due to heat, so as human capital being affected. Um, Fresh water will be in short supply in some areas. Shrinking productivity of harvests, we just discussed agriculture. Um, Diseases will be spread due to high temperatures, relocation of whole towns, and then extreme meteorological phenomena will cause widespread poverty. All right, so finally, the case study: residents of Montana win historic climate lawsuit. In a digital article written for Florida International News, residents of Montana sued their state over the dangerous effects of climate change. The case was based on allegations that Montana's energy policies violated the locals' right to a clean and healthy environment. The Montana area and residents were harmed by the effect of climate change, and there was a direct connection to the state laws that issued the permits to create projects that would pollute the Montana forests and waters. For this reason, I thought this article was relevant to the topic of discussion. And in the paper, I elaborate on all these topics, and it's more detailed there. This concludes my presentation. The next slide is a list of references.